Inside the peace talks. What the fine print really means. Russia and Ukraine. The fine print of a not-so-fine peace treaty. This week's biggest security story isn't on a battlefield. It's inside quiet rooms. Geneva suites, Brussels corridors, Washington offices, where the air is thick with coffee and caveats. Here's the setup. The U.S. has floated a revised peace framework, an updated version of that controversial 28-point plan. On paper, it trims some sharp edges. In practice, it still asks Ukraine to consider concessions that would have been unthinkable a year ago. Ukraine is walking a tightrope. In public, thankful for support, open to talks. In private, alarmed. Because land taken by force is not supposed to become a bargaining chip. That's not just pride, it's the core rule of the international system. Europe, meanwhile, is done whispering. London, Paris, Berlin have sketched a counter-proposal that rejects the idea that borders can be changed by force and pushes back on shrinking Ukraine's military. It's the polite but firm memo you send when you think the neighborhood architecture is being redrawn without your permission. And hovering over all this is Russia, no longer pretending to be a distant observer. Moscow likes the American plan in principle. Of course it does. Territorial concessions in Donbass and Crimea, a no-NATO pledge, and a capped Ukrainian military. If you're the aggressor, that's not peace, that's prize collection. So why is this happening now? Fatigue. The war grinds on, budgets tighten, attention spans shrink. Diplomacy and exhaustion are converging. And when they do, the fine print gets dangerous. Because words like security guarantees and temporary arrangements can quietly lock in permanent losses. There's also process drama. The original plan reportedly came out of hush-hush US-Russia backchannels that didn't include Kyiv or key Europeans. That's a trust problem. When the people living with the consequences aren't in the room loses credibility. After fresh Geneva talks, officials say the updated framework addresses Ukrainian concerns on security and sovereignty. But the details are still under wraps, and there's a clock. Washington set a soft deadline, Thanksgiving week, then hinted it could slip if talks keep moving. Deadlines in diplomacy are like rubber bands. They stretch until they snap. Here's the choice being forced into the spotlight: dignity versus support. That's how Kyiv describes it. Do you say yes to a deal that freezes the front and frees up aid, but bakes in an injustice? Or do you hold the line on principles and risk losing momentum, money, and patience abroad?